Florida. Mr. Donalds is recognized for our last 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Chairman. I think it's important for this hearing that last year, members of Congress on the Republican side of the aisle actually did pass the largest middle-class tax cut in the country's history. No tax on tips is not for billionaires and corporate leaders. Everybody that's on tip share in the United States is going to realize that when they file their income taxes. So I think it's important for people to understand that. Mr. O'Leary, real quick, National Association of Home Builders just came out with an article or a report maybe about a couple of weeks ago. They said that for the cost of a new home today in America, 30% of that cost is compliance with the government. In the facilities that you're building, what is the percentage of the construction budget that is tied up in compliance costs?
Varies state by state. That 30% number would not be correct for California. I believe it to be 45% there. So if you want to reduce costs in California, you got to get a big axe out and start chopping the red tape. I do a lot of commercial real estate, and what I've learned is there are states, let me give you an example, Utah, that has a program called MIDA, M-I-D-A. Other states should copy that because it's an accelerated permit. If you're bringing a project of state importance, so that it guarantees certainty for capital. So, large projects that cost billions of dollars require some form of certainty path to permit. I really applaud the leadership of Utah with that program. I learned about it recently. It is something I've not seen anywhere else, so they've got something going there, and other states should copy that. The permitting is generally in commercial real estate less, but it's more about the time. The hidden cost is the cost of capital. The longer it takes us to get a permit, the more the capital costs. And so states like New York and New Jersey right now, with the rent control threats, they got issues, and it's a real big problem. And I'm just, an agnostic, because I have to find states that want the money and where you can build in. So 3 cheers for Utah. I'm a newbie, but I'm loving that place. Salt Lake City, here I come.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I know there was the conversation around, is affordability a hoax? And look, here's the true answer. What President Trump is talking about is that Democrats caring about affordability is a hoax, because it's their economic policies, it's their public policies here on Capitol Hill that have driven the fact that compliance costs for new housing construction is exorbitantly higher than it used to be. If a single-family home, and I'm going to come off of commercial real estate, if a single-family home in the United States costs $300,000 and a third of the cost is government compliance and permitting, well, then that means that the government, whether it's federal, state, or local, is driving up the costs on home acquisition for the American people artificially. And to your point, Mr. O'Leary, we have to decide if we're going to be efficient with the people's time and efficient with their resources, because contractors are not eating the costs to develop property. Developers are not eating the cost to develop property because they will go out of business. The truth is, if we're going to be smart about this, we examine all of the regulatory burdens, federal, state, and local, around constructing new housing, constructing commercial development. And to the point I think you made it earlier, it doesn't mean you're going to have a Wild West of no permitting, but there does have to be certainty in the environment, because time is money, and that does not change regardless of your politics. Dr. Hamilton, I know we were talking about, you were having a conversation about public infrastructure earlier. Do you believe the United States is spending less on public infrastructure today than it did in the 1970s?
The question is how we spend on public infrastructure when we offer a $4 trillion.
Dr. Hamilton, I don't want to cut you off. Is the United States spending less on public infrastructure today than we were in the 1970s?
The answer is nuanced. I can explain it, but it's nuanced.
I didn't realize dollars were nuanced. You're either spending them or you're not. Are we spending more or less? We can get to the nuance in a second.
The nuance is important.
Are we spending more or less than we were in the 70s, or the 80s, or the 90s?
Inclusive of that $4 trillion tax cut for the wealthy, the answer is yes. We are spending more on public infrastructure. The question is for whom and to whom.
So we're spending more? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So now that it's been established, how are you going to then make the argument that we're not actually investing in things like public schools or roads or healthcare infrastructure, et cetera, if the United States is spending more today than we were in the past?
I just did. I said it's for whom and to whom. So if we're spending $4 trillion directed by a tax cut to the wealthy,
But tax
that
policy has
is-
nothing to do with spending policy, sir. Those are two different things.
yeah,
Gentlemen,
so they're,
time has expired. Gentlemen's time has expired. We have hit a little past our hard stop. I want to say thank you to all of our witnesses today. This was appreciated and insightful. I would like to also remind all of our members, and without objection, that they will have 5 legislative days to submit additional written questions for the witnesses to the chair. Questions will be then forwarded to the witnesses for their response, and witnesses, we ask that you respond no later than March 17 of 2026. And with that, thanks again. Happy birthday, Mr. Muser, and we are adjourned.